Hey everybody, welcome to Harmon Garage. I'm Aaron and time to make another video. So I've had a ton of stuff going on this week, been working on 2-3 projects at the same time and haven't filmed any of it, but it's just been a bunch of little stuff that I needed to get done, and so I did it. Got the motor pulled out of the Big 10 so the guy that wanted it can come pick it up. Cleaned up and painted the water pump for the 307 that's going in RJ. I tied up a little bit of stuff on the rear end here on rum runners so that I can do my shock relocation stuff and C-notch it. And I got all the parts for the motor for Cherry Pie all cleaned up and painted, not just the motor, everything in the engine compartment, but they're all done. I got the headers put on the motor, attached to the motor permanently, and what else? I've just been doing a bunch of stuff, but oh yeah, I got, my buddy's an antique dealer, and he had a bench that had a little bit of rust in it, so a glider here. So I repaired the rust and I put a little bit of body filler in it to smooth it out. I just gotta sand it down, put some primer on it, and he can take it back and paint it and do whatever else he's gonna do with it before he puts it in his mall or store, whatever it is. But I've been busy, and today we're gonna get back on Cherry Pie and we're gonna try to see how much stuff we can get buttoned up on this thing. Like I said, I got all the accessory brackets, accessories, everything ready to go back on it. And I got to clean up the wiring harness. I got to hook up the fuel lines that I installed on the other video. The shocks came in. We ended up getting a kit that was lowering shocks for the front and the rear. So we got those here. I can get those put in. I got most of the weight, the heavy weight anyways, out of the bed. So I don't have to deal with that anymore. I can get the shocks put on, see where the rear end's at, and I know I'm gonna have to notch it, like it's inevitable. So this video, I'm gonna try to wrap up as much as I can in the engine compartment, possibly put the grill and stuff back in, and we'll probably throw those shocks on. So here we go. All right, well, I got a little bit done what I said I was gonna do. I had to jack the truck up pretty high, well, high enough for my big butt to get underneath it. And I had to route the fuel lines to where they would hook up to the throttle body right. So I got them lined up and hooked up back there. Should be able to see it. And then while I was under there, I went ahead and hooked the exhaust up to the headers. So I'm gonna do the front shocks now while I have it jacked up in the air. I shouldn't have to take the tires off or nothing to do it. I should be able to just turn the wheel one way, do one shock, turn it the other way, do the other shock. And then as far as the front end goes, I should have everything underneath the truck done. Obviously I still have to do the shocks and the notch in the back, but as far as the front goes, I can have it completely wiped out, one thing to sign off the list. Then I'll keep working in the engine compartment. Hopefully we can get that signed off the list too. So I'm gonna open up this box of shocks, figure out which ones are the fronts, and we'll get them thrown on. All right, we just ordered, I don't know if you call it a kit or a set or what you want to call it, but it's Beltec nitro drops, and we got the set for the whole truck for, I want to say they're for 5 to 8 inch drops. So we didn't necessarily need to change the fronts, they would have been okay, but it wasn't much crazier price wise to just get all 4. So what we went ahead and did, get these opened up, and I believe these are the fronts. These are the backs, I think. And they don't tell you which one's the front and which one's the back, so I'll probably have to look it up, but I think these are the front. Pretty sure this is the front. Let me look it up and make sure I'm right, part number wise, and then we'll throw it on. Okay, I was right. I just wanted to double check. I looked and figured it out. These are definitely the fronts. So these are for 5 to 7, 4 to 6, something like that drop. They're plenty short for what we need. I have to spread that out a little bit so I can get that in there. You don't want to pry that out a lot if you have to pry it out. Just enough to get the shock in, because if you go too far, if you go too far, then the bolt hole don't want to line up no more. Oh, hey, I didn't see you guys over there. Don't mind me, I'm just getting to know the truck a little bit better. I'm actually putting top 2 bell housing bolts in because I never did it before and realized it when I was down putting the getting the fuel lines sorted out where they needed to be, and I figure now is a good time to do it while I can climb in here and get right to them versus trying to reach over fenders and whatnot to get to them. So I started one from underneath because it was easy to get to, and then just doing this one over here. But when you don't have a radiator and a fan and all that stuff in your way, and you can actually climb down in here, it makes life a lot easier. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do for right now, start putting my front accessories and stuff on. I'm going to start out with this balancer pulley, and then After I get this on, I need to turn the motor a little bit to bring it to top dead center. And then I can set the distributor in. Trying to get a bunch of the stuff done at the back of the motor before I get the front of the motor all put together, so that I can kind of climb in there and reach it easier. Be a lot easier lining up that oil pump priming rod and putting that distributor in if I can stand in the engine compartment like I did for those bell housing bolts. So it's got 3 bolts. If you're new to doing this stuff, you've never done it before, and you took your motor apart without paying attention and you're going back together with it, all Chevy small blocks, and I think big blocks if I recall correctly, the bolts that hold the balancer pulley on are fine thread. And on big blocks, you can put your crank bolt in whenever you want. Small blocks, you have to put the pulley on first, and then the bolt goes in behind it, in front of it, however you want to consider it. So I got my bolts started. I'm going to go ahead and tighten those down, and then we'll pull the number 1 spark plug out, wrench this motor over a little bit, and get it to where we can drop our distributor in. Alright, I got our number 1 spark plug out. I'm going to put my socket down here on the crank bolt, and before I do anything, I'm just going to easily try, oh yeah, turns over plenty easy. You got to be careful, because if you try to crank on this really hard and it's not wanting to spin free, then it's real easy to strip that bolt out. And I can't, I'm having trouble turning this over and having my finger up in the spark plug hole. So I'm hoping my balancer hasn't shifted over time to where it's not lined up right anymore. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, there's a rubber dampener in between the 2 pieces of the balancer. And sometimes that'll get old and the outside of the balancer will actually move on the inside, and then your timing mark's not going to be right anymore. So I got it lined up at 0. I'm going to go grab a small piece of wire or a little screwdriver or something like that and just stick it in the spark plug hole and see if the piston's up top. Which isn't going to be super easy with the header in the way, but and my piston is definitely at top dead center, so I'm going to hope it's on the compression stroke. I'm going to go ahead and stab my distributor, and if it's not on the compression stroke, then when I go to start it, it'll just be 180 out, and I'll just pick it up, rotate it, and deal with that problem then. So I'm going to go grab my distributor, get it cleaned up if I haven't done that already, and then we can go ahead and drop it in. Okay, I guess you could say I'm back in the saddle again. Getting down in here. I got my distributor all cleaned up, put a new rotor in it, and we're ready to stab her down in the hole. So what I'm doing right now is trying to look down in there and see where my fuel pump rod is pointing, and trying to get it close to where I want it to be. So if you look, when you go to install your distributor, obviously you got the motor top dead center. You want the rotor to point at your number 1 cylinder, or really you can put it anywhere you want as long as you make that where the number 1 wire goes. So my rotor and my notch in the bottom of my distributor here point the same direction. So what I did is I looked down in there and looked at my oil pump rod and basically pointed the notch in the front of the notch in the top of the oil pump priming rod at the number 1 cylinder. So when I get this set down in there, that should have me lined up pretty close. Sometimes these things drop right in. Sometimes it's an afternoon activity. Alright, so I just had my distributor pointed at number 1, but it wouldn't go down all the way. So more than likely it wouldn't go down all the way because it wasn't going into the priming rod, because that's the last little step it goes down. So I'm going to take that, turn it a little bit more, hopefully get us a little bit closer to where we want to be. See if it goes down now. And it's so close. But still not all the way. So we just got to keep playing with it until it goes where we want it to go. Boom. Right there. She sat all the way down, pointed at number 1 like I wanted to, and go ahead and put my clamp in here. Alright, I'm going to have to get a wrench to tighten that all the way down. I may be stuck in here. Nope, I got it out. Alright. So distributor's in. Hopefully for the last time, if we got to pull it out and do something with it or flip it to 180 or whatever, then we'll do that when we get there. But for right now, it's in, it's pointed at number 1. It's all the way seated. So we should be in good shape. And go ahead and start putting more stuff on. If I can get out of this truck. Oh! Alright, well, I've been working on the reassembly of this motor, getting all the accessories and stuff back on, and haven't really filmed anything, but I just I don't know, just been doing it. So a couple brackets for accessories were missing when I got the truck. There's a couple things that I changed, just different stuff, but I spent the better part of yesterday working on it, just cleaning stuff up, painting more stuff, adjusting stuff, making brackets that were missing, yada, yada, yada. But I got all the front accessories on. AC compressor, power steering pump, pulleys are both on, alternators mounted. The wiring harness is in good shape, so I should be able to just clean it up, relume it, plug it in where it needs to go. And it's coming along. Today I want to try to I got all the brackets for all my sensors and whatnot painted. So I got all the sensors and whatnot over there. I want to get those reassembled. We'll get those put back on the motor. And then once I get those all put back on, pretty much everything on the motor should be done. Then I can start working on the wiring harness. I got to install the new radiator. And we still got the factory jack handle, all that stuff. He wanted to keep that, so that's all got to be cleaned up, put back in the engine compartment, hook up all the AC lines, power steering lines, all that kind of stuff. So I'm gonna keep working on that and see how far I can get with it today and see where it goes. All right, well, I got a little distracted on cherry pie. The weather was really nice outside. It was still cold in the shop from overnight, so I opened up all the doors to let it warm up a little bit, and I decided to come work outside. So got this truck here. It was wrecked real bad. It wasn't mine, I didn't wreck it. A customer of mine bought it for the motor trans and transfer case, and we're going to use it in another project that will be next in line after cherry pie. So that's what I've been doing. I've been out here stripping it down. It was all complete. Everything's sitting over there. Got it down to where we could see the motor. Got the wiring harness about halfway out. And kind of done with that for now. Just wanted to make some progress on it because it's nice outside. Not too cold, not too hot. Sun shining. So if you're into LS/LT swaps, or you want to know what that's going in, or anything along those sorts, go ahead and hit the subscribe button if you're not subscribed already, because it's going to be a cool deal and a fairly big project. So now I'm going to get back on cherry pie. I'm going to see how much of this engine compartment I can get done today, and that's going to be it. All right, well, another squirrel ran by. You've been watching the channel for a while, you know what I'm talking about. I'll be doing something and I'll see something and I'll do something else, and I call it chasing squirrels. But I was sitting here where I'm sitting right now on my phone looking up some parts for cherry pie, because I keep running into spots where I need another part, or I find something that I want to replace or something like that. And I've kind of gotten to a point where, as far as finishing up mounting stuff on the motor and hooking the wiring harness up and stuff like that, I can't go much further or any further without having some parts. So I got them ordered up. They should be here in the next day or two. But I'm gonna move on and do some other stuff. But while I was sitting here looking for parts, I was looking at Rum Runner here, and the green fender started bugging me. I don't know why, it just did. I've had the paint for it for months and months. I don't even know how long. And the weather was nice outside, so I pushed old Rum Runner out on the patio. I scuffed up the original paint on the fender really good with like some 320 and 400. Scuffed it up really good. Sprayed some gray primer on it because where the paint's fading on the rest of the truck is gray, so I knew it had a light base, and I didn't want to just spray the, we'll call it maroon. I don't remember what the paint code is, but I'll spray the maroon over. I didn't want to just spray it over the green because it would make it darker. So I sprayed it with light gray primer, let that dry and set good. Then I sprayed it with probably 3 heavy coats of the maroon, and then it was like shiny and nice looking, and the rest of the truck was dirty and not shiny and nice looking. So I went and got some buffing compound out of my cabinet over there and did a little spot on the door to see how well it was going to match. I think it's going to turn out pretty good. I'll show you guys. There it is, Fender, freshly painted. For color match in an mixed up, you know, I went and had them mix the code for me and put it in an aerosol can. And for being from an aerosol can and whatnot, it doesn't look bad. I'm happy with it. And then you can see there where I buffed the spot on the door just by hand, not even with a buffer. I'm planning on buffing the rest of the truck out. That was my initial plan from the start. I don't want to paint it. I don't want to make it too nice. I'm just going to buff it out. But I had to know if this color that I bought over here was going to match the rest of the truck. And it does. It looks pretty good. The lighting's kind of weird on the camera, but in person it actually blends pretty good. The paint that I buffed on the door is actually shinier than the stuff that I put on the fender, which almost makes me want to put a coat of clear on it. But like I said, I don't want to make it too nice because the rest of the truck's kind of ratty and I want to keep it kind of ratty. So I just want to buff it out and whatever. This isn't dust like the rest. I mean, there's rust up there. There's some spots where the paint's completely baked off, yada, yada, yada. But right here, this is all baked off. This is almost pink because it's a little bit of paint on top of the primer. This is just dirty. But she's rough. She's worked, guaranteed. So I kind of want to leave the rough look. Like I said, it's going to be a daily driver shop truck. It's not going to be a show truck. I will take it to shows, but the purpose of it is not shine like a diamond, you know, all that kind of stuff. So I got a little further on cherry pie. I got the wiring harness kind of routed in the directions that it's going to go. I got a couple of the sensors and brackets put back together and got them put on. I can't do any of the, oh, I got the coil sitting in there. I never put the bolts in it. That'll be good. But I can't do anything on this side because the oil pressure sending unit was broken off, so I have to get one of those. And I need to leave myself access to get into it. So I can't do throttle bracket, kick down cable, none of that stuff. I put the wiper motor back in and the wiring for it's right there. I just need to plug it in, but I still need to clean up and make the wiring harness nice first. What else did I do? I worked on it for a couple hours. It doesn't seem like that much, but it really was. I cleaned up some of the wiring. I need to get some more electrical tape and whatnot to do more. But to finish off this video and to finish off my day, I'm going to put in the AC condenser, which is sitting right over there. And then we're gonna open that big brown box that it's leaning on. And I'll show you what that is. You might already know, but I'll show you what that is. And then we'll get that installed too. So I'm gonna go ahead and get to that, and that'll finish it off. The AC condenser put in. Now we're going to crack open this big boy. So the owner of the truck wanted a big, bad radiator. So that's what we got. This isn't sponsored. I wish it was. Cold case. If you're looking for somebody to advertise for you, hit me up on the email in the description. This is a 4 or 5 core, I don't remember. Cold case radiator. It comes with electric fans. And a shroud. So obviously, shroud bolts onto the radiator, fans bolt onto the shroud. So I'm going to go ahead and knock that out. Feels like there's hardware in there. I put one of these on long step, but it's been a while since I did that truck, so I don't remember exactly, but I think this shroud just goes into the ribbing on the radiator with self-tappers, and then there's nut zerks in the fan shroud here to bolt the fans on. So I'm going to get this stuff out and get the tools that I need to assemble it, and then we'll get it assembled. Alright, well, remember I mentioned something about riding the struggle bus on old Cherry Pie here? The saga continues. So, went to put the radiator together, and there's nut zerks in the shroud, but it did not come with bolts to bolt the fans to the shroud. So, I don't have any 1/4-20 bolts that are short enough, so I'm gonna have to go get those. And I was looking at the radiator and it looked kind of short, so I did some measuring, and there's 2 different radiators that go into square body trucks. There's an 18.5 inch radiator, and there's a 21.5 inch radiator. Well, this truck came with the taller radiator, and it came with the brackets for the taller radiator. Well, this radiator is a lot bigger, a lot more cooling capacity, and all that stuff, but it's shorter. So I don't have the brackets to mount that radiator in this truck, which means I'm gonna have to make some. Well, it's the end of the day. Even though it's not on this video, I've done a lot today. I'm tired, and this truck has been just one thing after another. I mean, it's typical. I'm not whining about it or anything, but it's just been one thing after another. I don't have a part that I need. I've got to make something to make something fit. Just stuff like that. And it's normal. It happens all the time when you're doing stuff like this, putting aftermarket parts on vehicles and whatnot. And I'm not gonna lose any sleep over it. I'm not gonna cry about it. I've had enough with it for today. And this video's on this truck. So I'm gonna go ahead and end this one here. I'll probably get another video out this week on something else. I got a couple projects I want to work on, and I kind of need a little break from cherry pie over there. And I'm waiting on some parts to come in that aren't going to be here till the day after tomorrow. So we'll probably do something different tomorrow. I'll probably make another video for you guys, but that's going to do it for this one. Thank y'all for watching. If you're not subscribed, please do. Leave me a comment, hit the like button. It helps with the YouTube algorithm, whatever, so it recommends my videos more. And I'm trying to grow my channel, and that's how you do it. So if it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't be able to do this. Y'all have a good one. We'll see you next time.